Hello and welcome back to another day in the free-to-play arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today we're going to be talking about Simic Combine. Throne of Eldraine has released, and with it we have had a rotation, which means some cards are no longer playable in Standard. We shouldn't have many of those on our free-to-play account because we haven't opened many booster packs of cards that are not in Standard. But there will be a few. Do you see this little danger sign, this caution sign? There's one historic card in the deck. Historic means that the card is not legal in Standard, but is legal in the historic version as well. We'll get to instead. Not as well, instead. We'll get to editing that in a moment. This is a free-to-play account, but we've stocked up 32,000 gold to buy cards of the new set. That will be in a different video. I have two more tuning videos to get through: Simic Combine and Selesnya Conclave. Life has grabbed me by the neck, thrown me around a little bit, but I am back, and I have a little bit more time to invest in the free-to-play channel. So my mission is to get the Simic and Selesnya deck tuning guides out, then do a pack opening for Eldraine, then do an upgrade to my mono red burn deck, and then craft some other decks and work on some different styles and hit that ladder. So far from dead, this free-to-play account, and thank you for everybody who put up that you wanted more free-to-play videos on my regular YouTube account. That means a lot to me. It also helps get the word out to others that there is a free-to-play account that they can watch. So the first thing I'm going to do is go use a code in the store. It seems whenever a new set comes out, there is a new code, and this is Play Eldraine, which should be good for 3 boosters. Yay! However, I'm going to hold off on opening those because it was my mission, of course, to get all of the decks finished, all the deck tuning episodes finished before Throne came out. But I will open these Core 2020 boosters. Well, you know what? We'll save them all for one big pack opening since I'm a little bit behind in the times. Let's get into the Simic Combine tuning episode of the... Let's go. So, when we look in here, what is Simic about? This Simic deck, untouched, given to me as it is all over the place. It's one of the harder decks to work on because, quite frankly, it is all over the place. There is Proliferate, which is a mechanic that puts additional +1/+1 counters and loyalty counters. Anything with a counter gets an additional counter on Proliferate. And there are adapt creatures, which when you adapt them, you put a +1/+1 counter on them and you get an effect like Shark to Crab. And these cards are fine. They're all right, and they play okay together, but they're not very powerful together. And on their own, they're a little bit slow. There's also a lot of like strange mana generating ramp cards. There's Stony Strength. Repudiate is a rare card that can copy a creature, which is very Simic, but it's kind of a weird rare to throw in. Incubation Incongruity doesn't really play with the rest of the deck. It finds a creature or it makes a frog out of a creature, but it doesn't have synergy with the counters and things like that. Overall, I found the deck a bit scattered, and when I was trying to think about what's the best thing for Simic, what does Simic do best? How can I stay true to Simic when I'm working on this deck? The answer that I came to was just playing big, powerful effects ahead of curve, ramp spells. The best Simic card by far in the format is Hydroid Krasis. And Hydroid Krasis is an awesome mythic that we are fortunate to get one of, and whenever we gain life, and it gains life, it draws cards, it has flying, it has trample. It's one of the more fun cards there is. Basically, all the extra mana you have, you pump into the Krasis, and you have this giant threat. But even if the opponent has a way to kill it like a murder, we gain a bunch of life to stabilize ourselves from being attacked, and we draw a bunch of cards, which can help us continue to move forward on the battlefield. So Hydroid Krasis is the card for me that drives me where I want to go with Simic. I'm not as into adapt. Things that toy around with +1/+1 counters like Biomancer's Familiar, it's always been a little bit underpowered compared to the raw ability of ramping out big threats. So when I think Simic, I'm going to try to think to ramp. I'm going to gravitate towards ramp and giant cards. And I already did some work to kind of cut down on the time where I'm flipping through the cards, picking cards. And this is the version of the deck that I'm going to be running. Now, this does have a historic card in it, which we need to replace. And there it is. Druid of the Cowl is a card that rotated. Remember, we got it for free from a cosmetic, so we can't be too upset. But we can no longer run Druid of the Cowl. So we'll have to find a replacement. But what we've got here is we got a few tricks like Callous Dismissal, Applied Biomancy, Lazotep Plating just to keep us around and alive. We've got ramp creatures like Incubation Druid, Paradise Druid, and ramp spells like Growth Spiral and Gift of Paradise. Then we have a small elemental theme to get some value and keep moving through our deck in Cloud Concealer and One Risen Reef. Then we get into the big threats. We have the Hydroid Krasis. We have the Vicious Hydra. Most of these are cards that I opened along the way, but some of them have probably been in your mono green decks. We have Mass Manipulation, which is a big X spell that goes over the top. We opened a Vivian Arcbow Ranger and a Nissa, so those made the deck, a Nightpack Ambusher, a Cavalier of Thorns. Basically, find those rares and mythics and look for space for them in the deck. I've got 2 Gargos Vicious Watcher because it combines well with Applied Biomancy to trigger fights whenever the opponent is trying to interact with our stuff, and they make our other 2 Hydras, Krasis and Voracious Hydra, even bigger. The Repudiate stayed in the deck, just something to copy, and the countering a triggered ability might come up at some point, but copying a Risen Reef can help get you through your deck. Incubation Incongruity stayed because we need to fend off our opponent's creatures and find the right creatures. Finding our Hydras is a big deal in the deck, so that card sticks around. But yeah, it's an interesting take. It certainly tries to go over the top. It's capable of being attacked viciously early and running into trouble. We run a lot of land. We're running 26 land to make Growth Spiral good. And now we have to find a card to replace the Druid of the Cowl. I would love to see that I have a Leafkin Druid or something of that nature. So let's poke around. Also here in format, we can hit standard so that we only hit standard cards. And what do we got? Oh, we have 2 Leafkin Druids. When did this happen? Must have opened some of these pretty recently. Let's get those into the deck. Those are pretty sweet to have, ramp spells. I think that they are better to have in the deck, especially with their elemental nature, than a few of the other cards sitting around. The Applied Biomancy comes to mind. I think we can go down to 1 of those. And yeah, now I feel even better with more mana creatures, because mana creatures are amazing in the format and very important. All right, I've got my deck. I've got a sideboard too. Vivian Arcbow Ranger, you may remember from our other green deck text, has a -5 that lets you get a creature card from outside the game, and that's why we have all these cards in the sideboard to go fetch if we decide that we need them. All right, let's go play some games with our new Simic deck, and it's the Simic Combine. I called it a clone just because I was trying out the build, but this is our Simic Combine 2.0 tuned version. And let's go play some games and see how it goes. We can keep it. We've got ramp, we've got draw, we've got an elemental. It looks fun. One of the first things you should do with the deck if you want to make it better is get all the Risen Reefs, because we definitely have a lot of elementals here. I'm going to keep this. Our mana right now only goes up to 4, so we're a long way from this Mass Manipulation being good, but it is the point of our deck and one of our payoffs, so I'm going to hang on to it. I think putting it on the bottom would be a mistake. We might never be able to draw it again. And I think that cards like Cloud Concealer and Cavalier of Gales can help us find the land to use it. Our opponent opens with the new Eldraine card Once Upon a Time. First spell they've cast this turn, so it's free, which is pretty broken. And they get a Questing Beast, which is an awesome 4-mana, 4/4 million-word card that basically is all bad for you. Everything about this is bad. It just smashes your face. So we'll need something big to contend with it. Let's go ahead and get our Leafkin Druid down onto the battlefield. We could go for the Growth Spiral, but if we don't draw a land in the top 2, the Growth Spiral did kind of nothing, whereas Leafkin Druid, as long as it lives, for sure gets us mana. And now our opponent is hard casting Once Upon a Time, which is much better for us, because if they actually have to pay 2 mana for the effect, and they get Edgewall Innkeeper, which whenever they cast a creature spell that has an adventure, they draw a card. So I guess I can now Growth Spiral out this land. And then we get to play the Cloud Concealer, and we're looking for a blue source. We got one. Sweet. We needed a blue source to cast the Cavalier of Gales next turn. We only have 2. Requires 3. But having a couple of these ready to go is going to be nice. Here's the Edgewall Innkeeper. Whenever the opponent casts a creature with an adventure, they draw a card. Here's a Fairy Guide Mother. It's a 1/1 flyer with an adventure, so the opponent gets to draw. But it looks like they're stuck on mana, so they're in a little trouble here. And we'll go straight to the Cavalier of Gales. We can definitely afford to put back 2 land. If the Cavalier of Gales dies, then these lands get shuffled away. We could attack with the Seer. If the opponent blocks, I suppose I'm okay with that. It's one less creature in the way to stop the Cavalier of Gales from smashing and bashing. I know it's a little less mana for the Leafkin Druid, but I think that's okay right now. Leafkin Druid, when you get to 4 creatures, produces 2 mana. I don't have a use for it until Mass Manipulation is fully online. And I have 2 creatures to play next turn in another Cavalier and another Druid. Green and white, they're not going to remove many things. They're not going to kill a lot of my threats. They're just going to try to build a nice large board themselves. And when they pass the turn, they probably have a giant killer. So, as I say, they're not going to kill my stuff. I take it back. They're probably about to kill my stuff, but let's attack. They wouldn't do it earlier because they don't want to give me the scry and then the draw this turn. Yep, there it is. Giant Killers, the Adventure, 3 mana, chop down. Destroys one of my creatures that is power 4 or greater. Then, for 1 mana, they get an Adventure creature that can tap to draw a card. I could steal their Innkeeper and cut off their card advantage, but I think it's better just to keep pushing them. Just keep shoving them. Let's put back some land that we don't need. I guess I do need a 4th blue, don't I? I'm kind of forgetting that, but Paradise Druid can do it. Paradise Druid is up to the task. 4 blue on Mass Manipulation. You're going to manipulate that many things. Gonna take some help. The Selesnya Adventure deck is a competitive deck. Probably not tier 1, but lurking close. Reduke played this in the MPL split, so we're definitely going up against a top deck in the format and trying to keep pace with it. The opponent makes Heart's Desire with 2 Lovestruck Beasts. That's 2 1/1 creatures. The Lovestruck Beast itself is a 5/5 for 3 mana, but it can only attack if the opponent has a 1/1 creature. So they made a whole bunch of critters that kind of that surrenders to being attacked by the Cavalier at least. And then we can also play the Nightpack Ambusher. I would love to play the Incubation though and try to find a Hydra. Incongruity making a frog just isn't too impressive. So yeah, we'll do that. We might find something better than the Nightpack Ambusher. Wow. The top of our deck was not looking fresh. And we'll pass the turn. Get ready to flash in our Wolfie Boy. And set up the largest possible Mass Manipulation. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 blue sources. Then it's 1, 2, 3. Then it's 1, 2, 3. If another land, we can steal 4 things. But I'm waiting for something large. I really want to steal some bigger threats. Opponent in the tank. I think they want to leave mana up to use their Giant Killer to tap down the Cavalier of Gales, but no, they're going with the Loxodon. They've played Venerated Loxodon to pump the squad. Okay. And it looks like they have another chop down. Let's go for the Ambusher. But yeah, it looks like there's another Giant Killer. That's why the 3 mana are probably left open. Opponent is certainly a thinker. They are in the tank. Playing it out super carefully here. And the Giant Killer goes after the Ambusher because of the wolf tokens it can generate. There is a land. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gimme. Your army is mine. And we'll see if the opponent can figure a way out of that. No, they are going to scoop it straight up. And that mass manipulation we kept on top back when we couldn't even pull together the mana to cast it is going to take the game. All right, we've got Druid and Risen Reef. So I don't think I will turn down many hands with a Risen Reef. There is some blue mana problems. 2 forests, 1 island, triple blue, quad blue. So Gift of Paradise is a card we're looking for. I have to decide if I want to play the Thornwood Fall, if I want to play a Leafkin Druid this turn. Playing it after the Risen Reef gets me a card deeper, but I think that the ramp is worth it. Plus we get a wall to block this Knight of the Ebon Legion for a few turns. Knight of the Ebon Legion with its pump ability can be annoying, but not until the opponent has 3 mana. And they pass the turn straight back. Yeah, let's get the Reef on fire. And then we're going to play a Thornwood Falls tapped because we need more blue sources online as quickly as possible. And we'll see if the opponent has something to deal with the Reef. So far it's looking all mono black. No blocks. Does the opponent pump their Knight? No, they do not. They deal 1. And a Bloodthirsty Aerialist. Whenever they gain a life, they put a counter on the Aerialist. Alright, time to bring out the Paradise Druids, who are going to make our mana look very nice next turn. And they're hexproof, so they're unlikely to die. And now this taps for 2 mana, so yeah, stuff is coming together. No blocks. If the opponent wants to pump the Knight, that's fine. But we don't want to give them something to easily kill. We fall to 14, so we're behind on life, but the plan is to play giant monsters and roll back into this game. And here we're going to play the Gorgos, the Vicious Watcher. Now this reads, whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, Gorgos fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So, if we want Gorgos to fight these creatures, all we have to do is target something with a spell. Let's do it this way. Here's Applied Biomancy. Let's return a creature to owner's hand and give a creature +1/+1. Since I'm not going to be attacking with anything, I'm going to bounce the Risen Reef back to my hand so I can play it for more value. So it doesn't matter what I give +1/+1, so I'm going to give that to you, and I'm going to give this the bounce. And that's going to let me fight and fight. So behold the combo. Crushes my opponent's board, leaves me with an 8/7 creature, returns my Risen Reef so I can play it again to get more value. And our opponent's going to need to rally from there. It looks like they might be on another free-to-play account deck, so this might be the kind of matchup you can anticipate. And these are the types of plays that make you feel like a pro, even if you put $0 on the line. Oh no! Finale to Eternity is going to kill 3 of our creatures. But it can't kill the Gorgos because Gorgos is too big for the finale. This only destroys creatures with toughness X or less, and the opponent couldn't pay enough to kill Gorgos. An island off the top says we could play this Cavalier of Gales, and I think we do. I think we just want to push our opponent over the edge with powerful cards. Yeah, so next turn, with 6 mana, we could play Reef and copy it, which would be lovely. So I'm going to put back the Gift of Paradise. If the opponent kills the Cavalier of Gales, it's going to shuffle our library. So I'm going to put back the Mass Manipulation too. Those are the 2 cards I might not even need to win this game. Boom. I don't know how we attacked and got our opponent to 4, but they scooped up after we played our Cavalier of Gales. Yep, once again we have a ramp creature and some sweet payoff cards. Let's do it. Breeding Pool tapped since we don't have anything else to do with the mana this turn. Our opponent opened on Steam Vents for red and blue. Let's see what they've got up their sleeve. Discovery. Look at your top 2, surveil 2. You can put them in the graveyard, draw a card. Probably an Izzet Phoenix style graveyard deck. And yeah, when you see Opt and Thrill of Possibility go to the yard, that's what it seems like. It's kind of crazy to think that the opponent would bin these cards since they also help get you deeper. They're either desperate for land or they already have everything they need, which is scary to say the least. But let's play a hexproof Paradise Druid here and begin setting up our board. Ironcrag Pyromancer is a very frustrating card and probably one we can't beat. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, it deals 3 damage to any target. So before I wanted to play an Ambusher. I think Ambusher is going to be far too slow now. I think what I have to do is try to ramp into where I can mass manipulate this. Or I could see if I can draw my opponent's fire with the Leafkin Druid, but that's a terrible idea, I think. Either way, I have 2 tap lands. I have to get out. This is going to be hard. Should I play the Nightpack Ambusher and try to stress my opponent that way when I know I'm going to play a Gift of Paradise soon? I don't think so. I don't think so. But I know I can't mass manipulate next turn. Even if I play the Gift, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I guess if I draw a land, it could be 6. Yeah. Maybe we take the chance that we draw an No, that's not what I meant to do. Beware of auto tap, guys. Auto tap when it taps a creature you didn't want to tap is the worst feeling in the world, and that's what's happening in this game. Goblin Electromancer. Now if our opponent plays a card that draws a card, they get to kill one of my creatures. And there it is. So we played the other Leafkin Druid afterwards because, well, we can't have our Paradise Druid dying now to the Ironcrag. And the opponent didn't have a shock, so we didn't get as grossly punished as we could have. But we still don't have the mana up for the mass manipulation. Life is hard. So let's try to scry into something that can help us solve our predicament. You are not it. So if we keep our Druid untapped, next turn things are okay. I'm going to go ahead and pass. Maybe the Nightpack Ambusher can do its namesake and ambush something. The opponent with a Thrill of Possibility, discarding Arclight Phoenix, draws 2 cards, which triggers the Pyromancer and does another 3 damage. It does have to go to our face. Druid too strong. But yeah, they're on what we would call the nut. This hand is way too good for us. We have basically no chance. We'll keep trying. We won't call it a dead experience just yet. But a turn 3 Pyromancer that we can't remove because Simic, you know, notoriously we struggle to kill the opponent's things. This is 2 Phoenix now in the graveyard. Like, this is insane. This is definitely no chance. That's what we've got. Shock to the face, why not? Opponent still with more spells, but they don't have to play them, probably. And the birds are here. Let's see if the opponent attacks with this Electromancer. And at least gives us something to ambush. They do. Alright. Now, down to 9. Do you have reach? No. That would be too nice. So I can use mass manipulation to steal 1 thing. And I think it has to be the Pyromancer so the opponent can't burn us out. Then they take us down to 3. The next turn we can play Cloud Conceer, trigger it, kill 1 of the Phoenix, and have a blocker for the other. And if the opponent can never get 3 spells together to bring them back, we have a chance. Before we do that, let's attack. I think that is perfectly reasonable here. I don't anticipate a haste on the ground creature coming. Just 1, right? That's all I can afford. Give me your guy. And I'll gain a life. But yep, we got problems. And I don't know if we can solve them. Land? Are you joking with me right now? Like, are you serious? Niv Mizzet? On top of the beating I've taken so far? Yeah, this was not a legit fight. Not even close. So one thing I could have done is attack with Ambusher, but I think I'd still just be dead in the air. No. I wouldn't have. So the right play was to attack with the Ambusher and see if the opponent would block. Let's see if they block now. If they wouldn't block anyway, then I know I didn't make a misplay. If they block now, then I'm going to feel bad for a very long time. Oh, okay, they didn't block. I don't have to feel bad. Yep, so that triggers Niv whenever they draw a card, so they can kill the Cloud Concealer and finish the game. So I hope they just kill me. They had a really great draw. They definitely don't need to spam their spells, but okay. It's always really depressing when people feel the need to do it. It's like, come on. Just a little extra beating for the road. We've got some Leafkins and a Crassus. That's auto keep for me. We'll play this tapped, so we don't have to pay life for it later. And the opponent's gonna fire off Pelt Collector. Okay. Here's my Druid. Opponent definitely wants to play a creature this turn to keep growing the Pelt Collector, but that should be fine. 2 Pelt Collectors. Well, these get out of hand. I'm getting nervous, not gonna lie. So do we get this tap land out of the way now? And tap our Risen Reef? No, the Druid can still prevent some damage this turn. So let's get our Reef on the battlefield. Another Elemental is nice to see. Pass the turn. And we'll see if the opponent is ready to kill our Risen Reef here. They're pointing something at it, and it's Domri's Ambush, which makes this Pelt Collector a 2/2. Block here. So the Reef is down. Now we're gonna need to get massive for the Crassus. Vivian Arcbow Ranger can make this a 2/5. That's pretty huge. And I think I like that a lot.
Civilization has crept too far. Tear it down.
Tear it all down. All right. But yeah,
This'll be fun to watch.
big toughness versus Gruul can be nice. I think I want to keep the Planeswalker moving up, not minusing until I absolutely have to. Because if the Planeswalker is moving up, that's more resources the opponent has to use attacking the Planeswalker. And since Power Toughness is a big deal in matchups between green creature decks, having the biggest creature, I think that that's exactly where we want to be. And you see the opponent has completely slowed their roll to be like, whoa, what's this? This changes everything. And they can't even, they just won't. They just can't even. They're done. We have a Growth Spiral and some Cavaliers. If we can't cast the Gales, we'll cast the Thorns. Let's give it a try. Opponent opens on a Healer's Hawk. Maybe we're gonna play against another intro type deck. Or maybe this will be blue-white, flyers kill you on turn 3. Blue-white. Fairy Godmother. I don't think they can actually kill me on turn 3. I think I'm just saying words. Trying to decide between the Paradise Druid and the Growth Spiral. I think the Spiral's better, but we can save it till our opponent's turn. I don't think there's anything we can draw for 1 mana that we'd play. That's not true. There's incongruity. Yeah, we'll try it now then. Okay, land to the battlefield. And the opponent with a Sailor. So they've already got 3 creatures. Here's 4. Did they have Saphara? I mean, this is... I said they can't actually kill me on turn 4. This is virtual death. The game is over. Like, they just made a 7/7 lifelinker before I even played a creature, got anything permanently on the battlefield. So the game ended. We don't have a chance anymore. But I'll let the opponent get their jollies and smash me to death. Maybe they can show us a rally with wings. Yeah. So there. I said turn 3. We died on turn 4, and our opponent had 2 lands. Good deal. Good game. Ramp! Nissa! Do it! Let's go. Let's throw a party. Our opponent's going to open on a Temple of Mystery and Scry to the bottom. Alright. Thornwood Falls. Your go. Your land is better than mine, but that's what you get for a rare versus a common. That's what you get. Breeding pool tapped, go. Weird. Not sure what's cooking now. Maybe I'll try to sneak out this incubation druid. My opponent can't wolf me. It could Oko me, but I'm not that worried about that. Wicked Wolf is a card that for 4 mana can eat a creature. And is this Spectral Sailor? Alright, Simic Flash. Few things make me as grumpy as this deck. I think I'm not alone in that world. But we've got a lot of cheap spells that produce mana. We can, in theory, overwhelm our opponent's counter magic a little bit. We let that resolve? Do they let this resolve? Yeah, they are not countering any of that. So they're trying to hit the quality cards with their counters. And they only have 3 mana. Well, I guess I'll go for a Seer, and if they counter it, I'll go for a Seer. Kind of a tricky card to counter. Alright, they're going for it. So I'm gotta be like careful about adapting this because Brazen Borrower or Unsummon bouncing it would be such a huge loss, so I can't really adapt it until I'm absolutely sure that's the play. But we got another Seer out on the battlefield. We're doing a good job overwhelming their counter magic. If we get them to flinch, we'll be in a good position. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's too bad I don't have a 3-drop to play to try to get my opponent to commit here. I can definitely go for an adapt. I don't know. It seems really likely that something will get countered. The opponent binned a Frilled Mystic, so we can be pretty certain that they're going to play another counterspell somehow. Let's try attacking with the Incubation Druid and the Cloudkin Seer. We can use our mana to pump this up. Alright. The other thing is we could turn a wolf into a frog, which but we'll go for it. This way, if the opponent does tap to like do an unsummon or something, we can tap our Paradise Druids to replay it. To replay the Incubation Druid, and then we use our mana this turn. Alright. So do we use this as a removal spell, or do we look in our deck for another threat? I think I'll look for threats. It's not a great removal spell after all. The opponent can kind of beat me to death with anything if they have good tempo. Alright. I need another cheap card. How about the Risen Reef? It can get a lot of value. I need to be able to like play something the opponent wants to counter, and then play something else as well. And right now I have 10 frickin' mana. Yeah, I'm not blocking. But the opponent does have the Nightpack Ambusher, which we've seen. We have one of those in our deck too. It's going to start cranking out the Wolfies. So let's see if they wish to counter the Reef. No, they do not. Woo! Alright. I mean, it's powerful stuff, but if it all gets countered, it does not matter. Let's see, right here, if the wolf attacks, We're kind of at a stalemate. I mean, the opponent, though, gets to keep adding to their board if I don't give them something to counter. Well, this is so unlikely to resolve. Everything's unlikely to resolve. But we don't want to play into a Quench. So I'll play around Quench with the Nissa. Remember, if we just pass, the opponent draws more cards with Spectral Sailor. It makes it more likely that they counter the next thing. It just gets worse, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, you have to throw cards into the doom and gloom that is the Simic Flash deck and their counter spells. Okay. You want to trade? I don't think you do, but they're at 2 cards. We get to spend the next 2 turns trying to get some of this stuff to resolve. In the meantime, we take a little bit of a beating. Ooh, the opponent might be getting a little cautious. They don't want to throw away their ambusher. And they don't want to play something on their turn, so they don't want to attack with the Preserver. Let's see if they pump any mana into the Preserver when this enters the battlefield. They can pay X to make this bigger. And we have to remember it has Reach, which is a really weird ability to just tack onto a card. 4 mana open. Don't think they'd counter a Gift of Paradise. Our opponent's shown that they are very patient, but they might try to counter you. Let's see, if we go with 1, 2, 3, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I don't think we get the Gift of Paradise here. But I want to leave this back to eat a wolf. So here's my agent. It's definitely getting countered. And then maybe next turn, Thought Collapse. What a silly... I guess if you don't have a Sinister Sabotage, you do what you can. But yeah, we need this untapped, right? Next turn is 1, 2, 3. Well, this could really pay off if I play it. And the Mass Manipulation resolves. And I'm kind of banking on that anyway. Let's see, I have some blockers. I don't think the opponent can kill me, so yeah, we're moving all in. We need this Mass Manipulation to resolve. Hold on to your butts. If that's all you're attacking with, I'll take it. Alright, it's going to be our last chance, and all that matters is whether or not they have another counterspell in their hand. 1, 2, let's see. We want to leave up 2 mana. Just in case of Quench. So that's 9. It's 10. All right. So pay you, and you. Come here. And I get one more. All right, you. And I get another. Oh, wait. I hit for 10. I meant for 4. I always forget how this thing works. Let's see, it's 3, right? It's 3. Yeah, 10 is 3. I always forget how this works. All that to get countered. I'm sure you at home are just like, ugh. Or not. That worked. That actually frickin' worked. The opponent could have Brazen Borrower, and then I'd want something to block the 3/1, so I don't think I attack here. No attacks. I mean, I know I have the Reach, but they might bounce the Preserver. If I attack with the Cloud Concealer, they could punish it if they have exactly something like either their own Wildborn Preserver and a creature, or a Brazen Borrower, which can bounce something and then make a 3/1. It's another Wolf. And another Preserver. Oh my god. The battle continues. Come at me, bro. Wow. Okay. So we can move to end step, put it on the stack, try to turn this or this into a frog. This is the one that makes the creatures. So yeah, let's move to end step, resolve the Nightpack Ambusher ability. And then we can do this on upkeep, so they have to respond on their turn. I like that a lot. No attacks. This has reach, remember. Alright. Do we pay X? This is a card draw. This is a card draw. This is a cast. So we can pay 1. If I did my math right. Just make that a 5/5, no biggie. Who's the Flash deck now? Where's my Frilled Mystics at? And when I say it's a card, I'm talking about using the 4-mana ability of Spectral Sailor to draw some cards. Alright, on the upkeep, I want to turn you into a wolf. We use it on the upkeep in case the opponent is about to top deck a counter spell of some kind. And they drew a Frilled Mystic. So now they won't get the wolf token, which is the good news, and some of their mana is tapped. But they won't get the end of turn wolf effect because they played a spell on their turn, which is how you keep getting more wolves off of the Nightpack Ambusher. So that's what was up with the timing. That's why we did it on the upkeep. Unfortunately for us, our opponent already had another counter spell in hand, and the best one possible in Frilled Mystic. But they're still, I think, behind now. We get to draw these sweet, sweet cards. And we get to resolve this big frickin' Hydra. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Take action. Auto pay. So we make this even bigger into a 7/7. We can get this on the battlefield and still draw a card from our Sailor when we feel like it. Your turn. Now whenever the opponent targets one of our things, the Gorgos fights. And if we find a way to target our own thing, the Gorgos fights. But how is it all going to end? This game has already been pretty insane. We have a big mana advantage, but there's all these wolf tokens. Like, Gorgos doesn't want to run into the wolf tokens. I guess when we have a flash creature, we can make this Preserver epically large. And then if the opponent has an unsummon or something for it, we fight away their Ambusher. Their Wildborn Preserver just became a 10/10. They have 2 mana open. Could be a negate, could be an Essence Capture. Let's see if they want to Essence Capture a Leafkin Druid. It triggers Risen Reef, so they might want to. I'd much rather have the Cloud Concealer and its evasion. And I think that these triggers are better than making a wolf by saying go. And it is an Essence Capture. Okay. So we tap them out. Now we get to Cloud Concealer, get all these triggers. I want to take action and pay at least 1. But we'll pay 1 for now. Again, it's in multiples of 4 of whether or not I can also use Spectral Sailor to draw a card. Yep, I have 2 activations from Sailor sitting here. So your turn. This game I thought was over, but the opponent was lacking that last counter spell, and that sometimes happens against Flash. That's why you just have to keep your head and play your cards and not give them time. Unfortunately, that's a lot of land. It's making me nervous. You do have to figure out a way to target something so that Gorgos can fight this thing. But here, I think we just say go and pump this up a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or not at all. We'll just not pump it at all. Draw a whole bunch of cards with the Sailor. More bodies. I'm confident eventually we can find a way to do something about this annoying fox. The problem is, even once we do, we're probably going to be dealing with counter spells. Whew, this is a patch of land. There's a vicious Hydra, or voracious Hydra. We can get our opponent to tap their mana somehow. That card can be amazing. Ooh. It will probably counter a Hydroid Krasis. It will probably counter a Hydroid Krasis. Remember, Hydras cost 4 less. Opponent leaves 4 mana open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, and 4. 23 cards in the deck. So many things I can do here. I think I'll just try to play it. It's going to get countered anyway. So I'll just try to play it for 10, I guess. Draw 5. Opponent says fine. They are okay with that. Now we have a clone. The clone can target the Gorgo so it fights the ambusher. I'm going to decline to pay the X because there's still a lot of ways this turn could go. But yeah, let's target a creature we control. We can clone anything we want to. I'll try cloning an ambusher so I make more tokens. And here's the fight. Remember, Gorgos makes an additional 4 mana for the Hydra, so I still have the Hydra available here. The opponent takes that. Is it possible they don't have a counter? Thinking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. I could try to eat something with the Hydra, but I don't think that's that important now. Let's just decline the ability. We can always figure out how to use it better later. Six frickin' wolves on the ground. I mean, if we got 18 cards left, I'll go for this. I'll go for it. If the opponent counters it, I'm not going to feel that bad. Even if it's like a quench, and they're going to allow it. I mean... There's land. We lose the Arcbow Ranger, which is too bad. Trample would have been nice, but we're still fighting this giant thing. And we had a turn. Right here, an attack with our opponent at 11 is block, 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 and then still 6 more blockers. It can't be very good. Let's wait till next turn when we have our Hydroid Krasis in the fray. 2 Night Pack Ambushers in the fray. And our opponent with another Preserver. Definitely want to discard these lands that enter the battlefield tapped or can cost life, because the game's not going to go on long enough for those to matter. 12 cards left in the deck. Shall we make them have a counter now? I don't know if I can have a Hydra big enough to fight this. Should I try? Does it work? We're going for it. We're going for it, friends. Well, in that case, do I even want to fight? When I can double it? Oh my god. Boom! We rolling. Let's spiral. Get out another land. And get out another druid. And set up for what might be the attack of the age next turn. The ultimate turn them all sideways. Okay, Brazen Borrower, they found it, but we get a fight. So I fight you. Yep, they can go for their ambusher here. I think they've been trying to lure me into an attack and then they can borrow something huge and then still win. But I don't think the Hydra's gonna be having it. 1919. Just one little card left. What'd it do? What does it do? I need that applied biomancy. With 10 cards left in the deck, I can probably find it too. Just triggering this for some more fights could be huge. Oh, we drew our own ambusher to pump the wolves at instant frickin' speed. Let's go for the Cav. See if we can find that applied biomancy. This is the big turn. Like, this is where it all comes down. I'm not even pumping the Preserver because I can pump it later off a different flash creature. There's no rush here. There is a Leafkin Druid. Still didn't find the biomancy. Heartbreaking. Alright. Well, we know what's on top. The Druid would just put it into play. The Growth Spiral would get through the next card. Doesn't accomplish much. Nothing else to target our own thing. So let's do this the fun way and declare that math is for blockers. Hiya. Get out of this if you can. I'll be impressed. I will be impressed. Here is a 3/1 flyer with 2 mana open. No pumps. So the opponent might have another Brazen Borrower here. Of course, if they target something, the fight is on. It's a Fairy Duelist. That is not a very threatening thing. How do you survive? How do you survive against the 36-37 trample? I don't think you do. I mean, I know you have a 22-22 reach, but there's also a 10-10 flying trample attacking. There's all these other little dorks. You have to block the Preserver. You know what? You know what? I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, I'll let them figure it out. Did we win? Is it over? Yeah, that still has trample, but we may as well flex on him. One for the road, but no reason to pump that to the moon. I didn't do the math. That's why I have to play the ambusher. I would hate to miss lethal by a point or two from an unblocked wolf. Boom! What a game! Thank you, 3637 Hydra. You are amazing. I hope you enjoyed this video with my free-to-play Simic ramp deck. It is a very fun color combination, and there's a lot of good cards in Simic right now, so it's a good place to start your arena journeys. So, thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.